Welcome back to the show, guys. So I messed up, guys. I'm so upset with myself. This is the second take I'm doing on this. I literally did this segment, ran through it all, and I literally was trying to unplug something in my hub, and I accidentally unplugged the freaking my SSD while the file for this video was saving, and so I basically didn't save. It saved like a second of it. I don't know. So I messed up. So anyways, take two, baby. We are doing take two. But yeah, just a little venting. Welcome back to the show, guys. It's your boy Mo, and we are here with California Sober, baby. You already know what it is. On this episode of California Sober, we're going to be going over the UFC London card. And we're also going to get into some MMA news, just some stuff that's been going on. I try to do one solo episode a week if I have time. And normally when I do that one episode, I'll try to like put in what's going on in the fight world, in the news. But I really had the time to do it because I've been busy lately. So I'm going to try to cram two things into this one video. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. It might be long. I'll try to go pretty quick just because I know people's retention span as well as my own. But yeah, first news I want to talk about the UFC White House card. This will be an unregulated bout since it is on federal land. Now, this is some contention between Dana White and the committee. I'm not sure if it's the MMA committee or the boxing committee. I feel like it's the boxing committee because they tend to, I think they oversee all combat sports, and they also are hard to work with. I know from personal experience, not from me putting on shows, but from people that I know who have put on shows, at least out here in California, they're difficult. But Dana White, he basically doesn't want to go through the committee because it's on federal land, right? So you only have to the committee is a state committee, right? So you have the Arizona committee for boxing, MMA. Like I said, I don't know which committee exactly. Let me find out. Let me do some journalism for you guys, baby. All right, so here we are. So as per why the f says. So as per what is this UFC? Oh, it's the actual UFC website. As per the UFC website, UFC, the world's premier mixed martial arts MMA organization, today announced that the Association of Boxing Commission (ABC), the unified regulatory body that oversees and supports the safety, integrity, and standardization of professional boxing and MMA events in the United States, will serve as an independent third party to advise on the regulatory operations for the unprecedented UFC event scheduled for Sunday, June 14th on the grounds of the iconic White House, one of the most significant and renowned locations in the world. So it is the boxing committee. It's kind of weird because it's like the boxing committee kind of oversees all combat sports in a sense. I know from personal experience that when it comes to Muay Thai bouts, they are overseen by the boxing committee as well. But yeah, so there is a little stink between the ABC and the UFC. So the UFC, obviously, like if you don't understand what I just read, it just means that what the UFC is saying is ABC will be present at the White House card and they will be regulating, but it won't be like an official regulation. It's more of like they're going to be like, I guess you could say suggesting things, right? At the end of the day, because this is on federal land, the UFC can choose to not listen to what the ABC wants. For those of you that haven't really been to a lot of fights or haven't been or who are not a part of the fight world, there's a lot of like these fights that happen on like MMA, combat sports, whatever. There's these fights that happen on Indian reservations. And when you see these fights, they happen on the Indian reservations oftentimes because they're like fights that wouldn't be sanctioned for whatever reason. You go to these fights, they'll pick random people in the crowd to fight. They'll have random mismatches, random type of events. I had a fighter on here. His name was Julio Rios, and he told a story about how he one time went to a fight at the Indian reservations, and he literally saw a couple get married. In the ring, and then they won and they fought not each other, but they fought like a male versus the groom, and then a female fought the bride, right? So it's like these weird things. You can do whatever you want. It's Wild Wild West. Why? Because it's protected land, and the ABC or any other commission, they can't oversee it. It's not a state owned land, right? And so Dana White's point was like, yo, this is federal land. We follow federal law, not state law. Therefore, we don't have to follow the ABC's regulations if we don't want to, right? The ABC got upset and they shot back with, all right, you know, you don't want us to officially regulate your guys' event. This will be a non-sanctioned event. Therefore, win, lose, or draw, the fights will not go on the record. And that's kind of like their clapback, which is pretty interesting because this is going to be like pro fighters who are fighting for something that's not going on the record, which is kind of like not really heard of. I'm sure it happens, but it's not common, right? Not at this level, at least, right? I think it can be a good and a bad thing. I think it can mostly be a good thing. Dana White can spin this to be a good thing because he can just let these fighters know, like, hey, look, these fights aren't going on your record, so freaking do what you got to do to win, baby. Make it exciting. We'll make sure you're taken care of if you get hurt. But hopefully this might lead to some more finishes, you know, and more risk taking because, like I said, it's not going to go on your record. That's what I'm reading. Things can change as we go on. I have a feeling that the ABC will have a bigger role in this than is being led. You know, I can't see because it's like. It's Justin Gaethje's on the card, right? That's for the belt. So if he beats Ilia Topuria, does he even officially get the belt because it's not an official fight, right? It's like, you know, I don't know. It gets kind of weird, but it could be cool. It could be cool. So, but yeah, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. What else we got going on here? So the White House card. Here's a cool thing. MVP. The MVP event that's going on, Jake Paul's event, it's going to be on Netflix. This is I'm talking about the Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey card. Let me pull some of this up because they finally announced the full lineup and there's some cool fights in here, some exciting stuff. Let me pull this up. All right, here we go. This is the full lineup, and I was pretty surprised on some of these names that we got. But honestly, I'm surprised, but it's like I know they could pull it off because they got Jake Paul and they got Netflix money, so it's like, you know what I mean. But we got some announcements: Nate Diaz versus Mike freaking Perry. I'm excited for that fight. I like both fighters. Nate Diaz, you know, he's from California, always got to represent. Mike Perry, he lives in California. I don't think he's from here. I'm not sure, but you know, he's also out here representing for the Californians. Obviously, we got the main event, which is Rousey versus Carano. Co-main, Francis Ngannou versus what's that guy's name? Something was his name? Something Lins. I can't remember his name. Something Lins, right? Supposedly he's a good fighter. I don't know much about him, but supposedly he's a good fighter. We also got who else is on this card? That Dos Santos Classic, and he's fighting. Dos Santos is fighting Dessa, I can't pronounce that dude's name. Dessa Pinine. If I'm not mistaken, I think this was that Taekwondo guy that got cut from the UFC. I could be wrong. Let me look into that. Let me actually, before I speak, let me look into that. I believe he was that Taekwondo guy that got cut. Yes, so I was correct. He was that Brazilian Taekwondo fighter that was super tall that got cut from the UFC. I think he had like 1 or 2 fights. He fought in Karate Combat right after he won that fight in Karate Combat. I think he might have only had 1 fight in the UFC if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he was he had a lot of hype. Supposedly he was a prospect. I don't know. I think when he got to the UFC, it showed that the reason he was winning his fights in the fashion he was winning them in was because of his height, as well as the fact that he uses his legs a lot. It was kind of like a hard mountain for people to deal with. But once you get to the UFC level, dude, UFC fighter, like their roster they got the best of the best, dude. And you have to really be like good to be in the UFC. You can't just be good at 1 or 2 things. Like things have like a certain niche that you're good at. You just have to be all around a good fighter and just have a really good niche, and as well as have a niche thing that you stand out from, you know? And he just proved that he just had the niche thing, and he didn't do very well. So he got cut, but he'll be fighting Dos Santos, which I think that's a good matchup for Dos Santos. I mean, he's older, so I'm not upset about it. Let's get back to this card. What else is on here? Who else is on here? Who else we got? Oh, Makhachev versus Moraes. Makhachev, he also was cut from the UFC. He actually did good. If I'm not mistaken, he was undefeated in the UFC. Exciting fighter, good striking, good grappling. He got cut because they just basically said he was hard to deal with. I remember that. Yeah, Dana White said there's just too many incidents with him, and they just didn't like dealing with him. And that's just, the UFC is a business. You want to play hardball, then they're just not going to play with you. You know what I'm saying? Larkins versus Jackson. Not sure if I know who those guys are. I thought that I saw. Oh yeah, I did see. Alex Pereira's sister. What's her? I can't remember her first name, but yeah, Alex Pereira's sister's fighting Mason Wong. That should be a good fight. Alex Pereira's sister. She's been fighting in karate combat as of recent, so I know she's been training for MMA. I'm not sure if this is her debut, but that should be a good one. You already know what's up. She fights just like her brother. Oh, and here's a good lineup that I just found out about this fight today. I read about it, but Babian versus Fasil. Babian is a California native. He fights for UNF. Up Next Fighting. He's their champion. I believe he's their champion, if I'm not mistaken. He's a savage fighter. I actually been speaking with them personally. I've been trying to get him on the show. We're trying to work things out. Maybe I can get him before this fight to help promote it or something. I mean, I don't know if I could say help promote it because he probably doesn't need my help. They got Netflix, baby. But I'm gonna reach out to him actually. So I'll reach out to him. Let's see what's up. But yeah, it looks like a good card, man. It looks like a good card. I'm excited for this. Yeah, man. Ronda Rousey's talking all kinds of crazy, bro. She's comparing this card to the White House card. She's saying how it's going to be bigger than the White House card. Oh, also, one fight that's missing is Christine Cyborg versus Clarissa Shields. I read that they reached out to both parties, and I thought it was going to happen, but I don't know. For some reason, it didn't happen. So I don't know. Could be. I think it's because I'm pretty sure Cyborg's trying to concentrate on boxing. She's probably getting paid more, and her camps are probably just boxing stuff. Also, Cyborg's been going through a transformation. She's been trying to look like a lady, dude. Let me pull some of this up, dude. I actually just saw this image of her or this version of her just because I thought she was gonna fight Clarissa Shields. So I've been trying to like look stuff up, just dig into it and stuff. But dude, she's had like all types of plastic surgeries now. It's kind of a trip. Let me see, where's a recent picture? All right, here we go. Where are we at? So these are her pictures as of. Oh, dude, look at this. Is this recent? Is this her actual recent? That can't be. Oh yeah, that is, dude. Was 6 hours ago, dude. Dude, this is her recently. She's like all skinny now. She looks like a lady. She still has a man face. I think it's from the years. I think she took steroids. You know how those Brazilians roll. But look at all of her gains are gone. Super skinny. Her face is like big now. Sad. I mean, dude, she looks like a mom now, dude. This is a trip. I mean, like, I don't know what's up with these pictures. This is how I'm used to seeing her, man. This is March 7th. This is recent, so maybe, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe some of these pictures are doctored. But I know she recently had a bunch of surgery. That seems to kind of be the thing for a lot of these fighters when they get older, right? They try to end their career. Once they get towards the end of their career, they try to fix stuff. I remember when Vanderlei got a bunch of facial reconstructive surgery. He like looked different and stuff. It was a trip. I think in his case, it was because he just ate a bunch of freaking beating on his face, ate a bunch of beating. He just took a beating on his face over the years. I think they had to correct some nose stuff. So he just was like, screw it, like fix some other stuff on my face, make me look pretty, make me look like a movie star. But maybe she's got the same doctor. I don't know, dude. But yeah. So yeah, MVP card. We'll see what's up. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think the MVP as a promotion can last. I just think they're not gonna have as many events as like the UFC, and I think they can't even compete with the UFC. I think it's dumb for Ronda to compare this event to the White House card or any UFC event. It should just be its own thing, man. Jake Paul is a great promoter, so we'll see what's up with that, and it's on Netflix, so it's gonna be big, right? Other stuff that I got, other news. Oh, here's a pretty crazy one in the boxing world. There's a bantamweight bout between Melissa Mullins. Oh no, I'm sorry. Where's that? All right, I'll get to that one later. Before that one, Arman Sarukian removed from the pound for pound rankings. Arman Sarukian, I don't think he was cut from the UFC, but yeah, they removed him from the pound for pound rankings. A little bit about history between Arman and the UFC. Dana White, he kind of is not that cool with Arman. Arman. When Arman fought Dan Hooker, right, at the face-off, Armin ended up, was it the face? I think it was the face. I can't remember if it was the winner or the face off, but Armin Sharukin, he ends up headbutting Dan Hooker during, I'm going to say, the face off. And it actually cuts Dan Hooker. And Dana White was not cool with that, dude. He was upset. Luckily for both of them, Dan Hooker's a dog. He was still down to fight, even though he got cut. I'm not sure how bad the cut was. I wonder if he needs stitches. I don't know. I can't remember. But Dan Hooker, he continued on with the fight. He ended up getting submitted in, I can't remember what round it was, but he got submitted. It was like a rear naked choke or something. I don't think the headbutt had anything to do with it, but Dana White was upset because, the fight could have been pulled. It could have been shelved because of that headbutt. And he vocalized his anger with Armin Sharukin. And since then, it's been hard for Armin to get fights, bro. Honestly, and Dana White straight up said that Armin Sharukin's behavior at the weigh-ins is directly correlated with the way the UFC treats him. Dana White does not like people that play hard. You know what I mean? And Armin Sharukin, he's got money. If you guys don't know who or anything about Armin Sharukin's personal life, his dad's got a lot of money. He doesn't need a fight. He just does it because he likes to fight. And so because of that, he's less inclined to be a yes man, So yeah. Anyways, what else we got for news? Oh, here's what I want to talk about for the boxing thing. In the boxing world, we had a 19-year-old boxer named Isis Seo, who was recently placed in a medically induced coma following a KO defeat from Jacqueline Camarello. Now, here, that's already sad as it is, but now here's where it gets even sadder. This was Seo's second KO defeat in 7 weeks. Like, I don't understand how the commission approved this. My girl just got knocked out, and then they're 7 weeks later, yeah, we'll let her box again. It's kind of sus and it's kind of weird. I wouldn't let her fight at all for a little bit. Let her recover. I mean 7 weeks. Okay, so what's that like? Just over 2 months. I guess when you put it like that, it doesn't sound too long. I would have given her they should have a 3-month minimum. Give him a 12-week minimum, a 10 to 12-week minimum. I don't know. I didn't like how that came out. But yeah, I wrote this about a week ago, and I unfortunately wasn't able to do a segment on MMA news. But as of yesterday, Isis Seo was she woke up from a coma. I don't have an update on how she's doing, but she's just, as far as I know, she's doing all right. So that's good to hear. She's 19, she's young. So, she still has her whole life ahead of her. Hopefully she can recover from this. I don't know what her plans are in the future to box or not to box. I don't know. I personally probably wouldn't box, dude, if something like that happened to me, but that's just me. And last but not least, R.I.P. Chuck Norris. I'm a Chuck Norris fan. I always was. I grew up poor. We didn't have cable or none of that. We had one TV, and I didn't have a lot of stuff that I could watch. My mom was she was a Jehovah's Witness, and at the time of my youth, she was into it. Now she's not as into it, but yeah, I was kind of low-key raised a little bit of Jehovah's Witness. So I didn't get to do a lot of cool things and watch a lot of cool things, but Chuck Norris was something I was able to watch. That was on TV. I believe that was on Channel 5, and I loved watching it. I loved martial arts. The karate thing was cool to me, and I recognize all the stuff he's done for combat sports. He had Chuck Norris tournaments that really popularized karate. I never took karate, but I do know guys that did take karate, and those Chuck Norris karate tournaments, a lot of people that fought in him were very proud of it. So, you got to give it up. Got to give it up to my man Chuck, baby. And all right, so let's get into it. I'm freaking the fact that I got to redo this bothers me. Hold on, let me freaking smoke, dude, because it's been a long night, bro. I can't believe I recorded a whole hour for it to just not got. I've always been paranoid about that happening, and then it finally happened. It's never happened to me before. It's because now I record everything through OBS. Whereas before I would do it in camera, and then I would do all my cuts in post, because I like to do stuff in post. But anyways, now I've been just doing things through OBS and making my cuts live. It just shortens the time of editing, man. At the end of the day, it's it doesn't make sense to record for an hour and then go edit for another 30 minutes, an hour. UFC London, baby. Let's get into it. Let's get into the recap. UFC London. This was a night, man. I enjoyed this card. I'm telling you, a lot of people are upset with the Paramount deal, but I feel like the UFC has been doing pretty good with the deal, just overall, right? I mean, you'll get some lackluster fights and some main events, that kind of whatever, but you'll still find a lot of bangers. bangers on the cards, right? So yeah, this event, it was in London at the O2 Arena, and man, was it electric, man. The British people, they love their fighters. They love fighting. I for one am always interested to see what's coming out of Britain, what their fighters are doing and stuff like that. So it was cool. It was cool to see a lot of these Englishmen. But yeah, we saw everything from UFC London. We saw everything from clinical technical striking to heavy hitting heavyweight wars. I'm gonna give you the full breakdown of this card from early prelims to the main event, which I thought was controversial. And I might not give you the full. I might have to break to not talk about some of these just because of the fact that I've already been here for like over an hour now. So I do apologize. But yeah, there's some controversy on the main event. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I agree with how it was scored, but it is what it is. So I'll talk about the fight, and then at the end of it, I'll give you my 2 cents. Let's leave it at that. I'm also going to do things a little different because, like I said, I'm a little tired. So I'm going to go to the big fights first, and then I'll make my way down the prelims. I usually do it backwards. I usually do it as I watch it. But anyways, main event. Movsar Evloev versus Leron Murphy. Evloev's coming in at a 20-0 record versus Leron Murphy coming in at a 17-1-1 record. This was a battle for a title shot, and honestly, this was a battle for the title shot. And honestly, the result had me questioning the scorecards. It really did. Early in the rounds, Murphy he put on a good show. He did really good with his footwork. He had a really good right hand, dude. That first round, that right hand was landing hard, and it was landing. I think his footwork and his right hand was making it hard for Evloev to basically take him down to the ground. That's the thing with wrestlers, right? It's like a lot of the times people, when they're, if you're a heavy striker and you're going against a wrestler, people start working the takedown defense in terms of stuffing things, right? In terms of trying to stop the shoots or get their legs free, right? They'll focus a lot on that, on how to escape and get out, right? But I think one thing that works pretty well against wrestlers is footwork, bro. If you're just not there for the takedown, they can't. As a wrestler, you can't just shoot in and just grab someone, right? You don't want to get hit, and you need the right distance to grab people. So working on your footwork can help tremendously against a heavy wrestler, and you could tell Murphy worked tremendously on his footwork. So I think his footwork, along with his right hand and his speed, dude, Murphy seemed to be just a little bit faster than Evloev, in my opinion. I think that was able to defend. Those three things combined were a good defense against Evloev's grappling, but yeah, round 1 through 3, Evloev couldn't really take him down. I mean, there was a moment I think in round 3 where he took him down, but Murphy was able to just stand up really quickly. I think he took him down, Murphy stood up, he took him down again, Murphy stood up again, and then he was able to break out of the clinch. But it was really elite takedown defense, and you can tell that Murphy really took this camp serious, and he like really studied his opponent. When he was fresh, dude, Murphy just couldn't be taken down or held down if he was taken down, But Evloev proved that he can strike this fight. Honestly, I know Evloev had good boxing, like decent boxing, but I thought that Murphy was gonna run through him in the striking department. But I was wrong, dude. Evloev, he landed some solid boxing combos. He landed some good kicks. I think in round 2, towards like halfway through the round, he actually threw a head kick and it barely just missed like that. Like that, dude. Just like that. It was clean, dude. It was clean. His striking was good. His kickboxing has evolved tremendously. But yeah, round 4, I believe, Evloev, he threw a low blow in round 4 early on. I think the first minute. This was his second low blow. The ref actually deducted a point from Evloev for the second low blow, which I'm not upset about because you gotta. I mean, it didn't seem too hard, not in comparison to what Cody Garbrandt went through. But I mean, you know what? You gotta deduct points for that. It's an accident, but you gotta start training to not do that, right? And this should, like, once points start getting deducted, you're gonna see things in the training room change, and then you're gonna see it translate into the actual fight in the octagon, right? But yeah, in round 4, that really, after he got after Ivlov got that point taken away, it really swung the momentum. Like Ivlov, like it was like a switch just flipped. It was like I'm down now. I have a point taken down. I could be losing this, so I got to turn this on. And in my opinion, I think he was. I think I give Murphy round 1 through 3, but if you don't give him round 3, then for sure 1 through 2. So with that point deduction, tough, right? Tough to come back from. But yeah, round 4, like Ivlov started swinging for the fences. He just turned it up a notch. It was relentless with his takedown attempts. By round 5, Murphy melted, dude. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was tired or if he got injured, but dude, Ivlov melted him. He took him. He was able to take him down. He was able to beat him up. Murphy's face was cut open. We were not looking at the same fighter round 5. I think Ivlov got a takedown like early on in the round, if I'm not mistaken, and he pretty much held that control. He got a takedown. He moved to side control, full mount. It just was all over Murphy. I think Murphy, the best strike in that 5th round. I think he landed a 1-2 on the feet, but it wasn't like too bad. It landed good, but it wasn't enough to really like stop Ivlov's pressure. And in Ivlov's pressure, it was constant, baby. Anyways, fight ends. Was it a unanimous decision? I can't remember if it was a unanimous decision. I didn't write it down, but the refs gave the fight. I mean, the judges gave the fight to Ivlov. I'll give you my take, right? I personally gave Murphy rounds 1 through 3. I guess it could be a controversial take, right? But I gave him 1 through 3. I think he did enough. I mean, it's not like he ran away with it, but he landed more of the cleaner strikes. I know in round 2, Ivlov landed, I think it was a cross, which I think up until that. I think that cross was the hardest strike landed up until that point, or even from between rounds 1 through 3, that was the hardest strike landed. But even with that cross, I think Murphy did enough to secure that round, right? Obviously, round 5 was dominated, dude. Ivlov dominated round 5. If he fought like he did in round 5 early on, he might have been able to take Murphy out, like, early, maybe by round 2, right? But yeah, I don't know. I guess that 5th round is what sealed it for the judges. I will mention though, after the fight, Murphy was kind of laying on the floor. I thought it was because he was exhausted, but he kept pointing to his hip. So I think he injured his hip in the fight, and that could have been the reason why the pendulum swung at the end of round 4. Who knows? There was a lot more takedown attempts in round 4, so maybe he defended a takedown and hurt himself. I don't know, but one thing that was funny was, dude, I wrote Ivlov was smoked out. That's what I wrote in my notes. He basically said that he outstruck Murphy, that he's like, people doubted that I could stand and bang, which I did too, and I think he was able to stand and bang, but I don't think he was the better striker. I really don't. He said that he didn't need his wrestling to secure the dub, so I think to him, he thought he won off his strikes. I don't believe that to be true. I don't. I'm sorry, Ivlov. I think that the rounds 1 through 3 were just striking rounds, and he was, in my opinion, he was losing. He wasn't losing by much, right? He didn't get dominated by Murphy the way he dominated Murphy in the grappling exchanges. But I think Murphy was the better striker, who just was faster, and like he just, was just good footwork. I don't know, but I thought what was cool for Murphy was after the fight, right? Murphy got on the mic and he said that Ivlov, he congratulated Ivlov, and he said that basically that Ivlov is next in line for the title shot. He deserves it, and he should be the one that gets it. And I just thought that was good sportsmanship. I like to see good sportsmanship, so that's cool. But yeah, so I guess we could see, and I think who's in that. Is that what weight class was this? Pause. Unpause. So it was a featherweight fight. So let's take a look at the rankings for featherweight. Featherweight. Oh, is it going backwards? Oopsies. Alexander Volkanovski is the champion. So, all right. Ivlov versus Volk. That's gonna be tough for Ivlov. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't know. Can I see Ivlov getting the dub against Volk? No, I honestly don't see that. I don't think he can take Volk down. I really don't. But who knows? Maybe Ivlov is just stronger. Maybe he's just the type of dude that once he grabs you, like once he grabbed Murphy, like fully like clenched him, he was able to take him down. But I don't know, dude. I think Alexander Volkanovski, he's got great takedown defense. He's hard to take down, actually. And his striking is, I mean, he likes to come dart in and out, and I think that's going to be a problem. Like it's like he'll come forward with the combination switching stances, and then he'll like take a step backwards, and circle. He does that a lot actually. That circling, that stepping out and circling. So I can see that being a problem for Ivlov closing the distance to grapple with them. And I'm not sure if he can bang with. I'm not sure if he can strike with Volkanovski. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting matchups, but it is what it is. It's gonna happen. So I'm still down to watch it. Maybe he takes the belt. Volk's getting old, so father time, baby. Father time beats everyone. You know what I'm saying? All right. Next fight, co-main event. Michael Venom Page, baby. Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson. There we go. I like having the stats right there. I feel like it looks cool. Plus, doing it right here helps me out in post. I don't have to add it. It's nice to have the picture when you talk about someone, right? Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson. Michael Venom Page, he's coming in with 24-3 record. Sam Patterson 14-3-1. As I said earlier, I'm a fan of Michael Venom Page. I was excited when he came to the UFC. I thought it was a matter of time. His run in the UFC hasn't been as exciting as his other fights, like in Bellator or even BKFC. I thought it was a good fight. He had Mike Perry, by the way, in BKFC, even though he lost. Part of it, probably because of his age, right? He's getting older. I think he's like close to 40 now. I think he's around 36 or something, 38. That's part of it. He doesn't seem to have slowed down much, but I feel like I'm not gonna say his speed slowed down, but in terms of his his engagement has slowed down, right? And as well as like the UFC, I think honestly, I'm gonna say it straight up. The UFC is the premier MMA league. Like they have the best of the best. When people cross over, they don't look at Patchy Mix, even though he went to Rise and got knocked out. But generally, when people come over, they don't have as easy as a time in the UFC as they might have had in their last league, right? There's people that stand out, like Conor McGregor, right? He came from Cage Warriors. Was it Cage Warriors or King of the Cage? What's the one out there? I don't remember. But yeah, his performances haven't been. He's been winning a lot, but they haven't been the best. And he has a problem with speaking out against Dana White, right? He likes to run, he likes to say stuff negative about Dana White and the UFC in general. That's always a problem for Dana. He doesn't like to play those games, right? So it hasn't been looking good for his career in the UFC. But yeah, this fight was a mid fight, man. Honestly, I was super excited for it. I was kind of interested on what was going to happen because Michael Venom Page, he's in Bellator, he was the champion. So you expected him to make his way to the title fight here in the UFC, and he's had great performances with a lot of ranked guys. Patterson's not ranked, so I was curious on why they were giving him this fight. I don't know. But just a little side note. But yeah, like I said, this fight was pretty mid. I'm trying to find words to say it in a nice way. It was, Patterson didn't really engage. It seemed like he was running away a lot from Michael Venom Page. I think in round 1, he got hit with the clean, straight punch. I can't remember from what position, if it was cross from the right side or the left side, but he got hit with a really, really hard cross, and it kind of sent his head back. And you can tell after that, he got really kind of scared, I would say, kind of cautious. Like you didn't want to play that game anymore, right? Of just coming in and out. He just was circling around the outside, bro. MVP, he was doing a lot of faking, and he was kind of press forward a little bit. Honestly, it took a while for him to start pressing forward, but he was doing a lot of faking and a lot of kind of you know what I mean? Michael Venom Page, he's like a counter fighter, right? So he does his best work in the chaos, right? When there's a lot of chaos, he'll find an opening and then he'll swing and he'll land something. And that's where he gets a lot of his KOs. Patterson wasn't willing to have encounters, and because of that, Michael Venom Page wasn't able to look for those openings. So I get when you fight a counter fighter and he's not you're not engaging, then what happens, right? I don't know. Let me smoke a joint to this because I'm sad that this fight happened this way. I like Michael Venom Page. Oh. I like his crazy style. It's super cool to watch when he does cool stuff. But yeah, Patterson wasn't playing that game, and because of it, nothing was really happening. And Patterson wasn't pressing forward at all, really. But here's my thing: is like Michael Venom Page. It's like you got an opponent that's scared of you. He's not engaging. So what do? Are you going to keep just faking until he makes a mistake and then you counter, or what? I mean, in my opinion, I think at that point now it's up to you to make something happen, right? Maybe you got to become a brawler. Or at the least just get in his face and swing stuff. You don't have to be a brawler, but just, you want to do that point fighting, that's cool, but get in there and start like swinging, throw some jabs, throw something, It kind of was a stalemate, bro. I mean, MVP would land some strikes, but it wasn't like he doesn't really throw combinations or anything, right? So yeah, MVP won via unanimous decision. Dana White was visibly upset with this fight. After this fight happened, if I'm remembering correctly, he like walked off for a minute, and he publicly said that he didn't like how this fight went down. MVP has one more fight on his contract. He said if the UFC wants him to re-sign with them, then he wants to be in the talks for a title. I can understand where he's coming from. I don't know. I don't know if that negotiation is going to work. Just because he's got a 0%, he's got a 0% finish rate in the UFC, right? And I get it. It's like you don't have to finish your fights for them to mean anything, but it's like they got to be good fights. They got to be entertaining, right? And that's where I feel like Michael Venom Page, I think within the UFC, he hasn't really had entertaining fights, unfortunately. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know what's up with this future in the UFC. I can see Dana White just stalling out his last fight and just not giving him anything, He's done it before. I don't know what his contract says. I don't know if there's what do they call it, like a sunset clause, which says like either, you get 2 fights or, you get like a year. So it's like if you don't get your 2 fights and the year happens, then your contract expires. From what I understand, I think the UFC doesn't do those type of contracts anymore. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what's the next fight. Here's an exciting fight. 1 second. Iowa. Dude, I don't know if I could say this fool's last name. Let me. Iowa Baron Nowitzki versus Austin Lane. Iowa's coming in with the 8-0 record. Lane's coming in with the 13-8 record. Iowa is he's got 8 fights and 8 KOs. Let me show you these stats real quick, or at least just this picture real quick, just because I think it looks cool when I'm talking over it. But yeah, Iowa, he's coming in with 8 fights, 8 KOs, man. Obviously, my guy is a striker and he's got knockout power. Austin Lane, didn't write too much about him. Honestly, he's been kind of a mid fighter. Honestly, I recognize him and I remember seeing him in the past, but it's whatever. Austin Lane, he came in. I think he lost his last fight too. Is that factual? Let me check on that for you guys. Yeah, so Austin Lane, he is basically only got 1 win in the UFC. Oh wait, no, 2 wins in the UFC. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses, 1 no contest. I don't even want to see what was up with that no contest. I don't even care. But yeah, so he is not doing good in the UFC. His record is not doing good. That's why I've honestly been kind of whatever about him. I not to be mean or anything. I try not to disrespect fighters or none of that, but I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, so Austin Lane, he came out like he needed the stub, bro. Honestly, like he came out very aggressive. He kind of, his opponent has 8 wins and 8 KOs. It's like, bro, you gotta pay attention to that. There should be some caution. I think because of all the losses, I think because he's like on a 2 fight lose streak at this time. I think he needed he kind of was like, I want this win. I gotta get a spectacular win. So he was like in his face, but I mean, dude, the fight only lasted like a couple minutes, dude. He got knocked out clean. I'll include a clip here, but yeah, it happened like Iowa I think it was a short hook that just slapped him, bro, so quickly, and it was done, dude. And I just wanted to throw that fight out there. Totally recommend everyone to check that fight out. Austin Lane, if he doesn't get cut, if you continue to fight, I think you need to have a more cautious approach, bro, especially when your record is looking that bad. There's no reason for you to run in there, bro. And you got to pay attention to who your opponent is, dude. If he's got 8 KOs, I mean, in your head, you should be like, either I should be working ground game or I should be, stay on the outside. If I'm going to strike with them, pay attention to stuff, pick my shots. this dude's got knockout power, right? And so Austin, he paid for it, and it is what it is, baby. So I'll just leave it at that. We'll just move on to the next one. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Roman Dolidez. Christian Leroy Duncan's coming in at a 14-2. Dolidez is coming in at a 15-5. Yeah, so I don't remember how many rounds this fight lasted. I didn't write it down, but what I do remember from this fight was Roman wanted to grapple with Christian, like right from the get-go. You could tell. Christian looked like he was the better striker, and I think Roman felt like he was the better striker. He would like pull guard randomly, dude. And like, dude, Christian Leroy, this guy is freaking a tank, bro. My guy has got muscles on muscles. Right when he walked out, I was like, damn, that guy looks scary, bro. Just on physical appearance, obviously, I don't know. I'm not going to say just because you have a bunch of big muscles that makes you super strong, but I mean, it makes you kind of strong. It does. It's not wrong, right? And so to me, I'm like, damn, you're going to pull guard on this buff ass fool that's just going to be punching you in the face. And that's basically what happened, bro. Roman, he like pulled guard and he was looking for like some type of leg lock, and CLD, that's what Christian Leroy Duncan, that's his nickname, is CLD. He just stayed calm, defended like all the different chains and, attempts. And he just basically would punish Roman when they would get on the feet, as well as throw some ground and pounds, kick his leg, and, I don't know why Roman kept pulling guard, bro. That was like, if I was Roman, no more pulling guard, dude, at all. Dude, get that out of your, dude. Yeah. His coaches were probably screaming at him like, stop pulling guard. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it is what it is, dude. It is what it is. Moving on. Oh, winner was CLD, by the way. I think I did mention that, right? Moving on to the next fight. So yeah, Curtis Campbell versus Danny Puma Silva. Danny Silva, my man, coming out of Santa Ana, California, baby. Santa Ana, California, or Santa Ana. I'm sorry. Santa Ana is out here in Orange County. I am from Orange County. My gym used to be located in Santa Ana, Spider Muay Thai. We are now in Fountain Valley, a little bit nicer, a little bit down the road. So yeah, I got a lot of love for my people. Danny Puma, always excited to see him fight. Got represented for my people down here, Orange County. What was I gonna say? Phenomenal boxer. You're coming out of Santa Ana, you already know you're gonna get a good boxer. He's overall a good fighter, but I think his boxing is what stands out the most for me. He comes out of Cub Swanson's camp. And yeah, he's fighting Curtis Campbell. This is his debut fight, and man, was this a tough fight. Danny, like I said, he's a true MMA fighter. He's got good grappling and he's got good striking. So for Curtis, this was a tough fight. Curtis Campbell, don't know much about him, don't know anything about him, honestly. He's a little bit taller. He wasn't too bad, bro. Starting off the first round, he had some good striking, really good kicks, actually. One thing I noticed was Curtis had better kicks than Danny. And he was using that to his advantage. He was also the more accomplished grappler. Once he was able to grab Danny, he was able to either take him down or gain the better position in the clinch. I remember in the first round, he took Danny down, and Danny was able to get back to his feet, but it was tough. He had to work for it. And I think in that first round, and like that light bulb clicked for Curtis, he was like, oh, I'm better than him on the ground. He's like, this can work for me. But dude, Danny's boxing was just crisp. He was landing good strikes in that first round. Round two is where really like you started seeing Danny start taking over. It kind of looked like Curtis got tired. I don't know. I think at the end towards the end of round one, there was like a grappling position that happened. I can't remember off the top of my head because I watched this on the day of, Saturday night. I watched it. There was this exchange that happened where both parties used a lot of energy to try to gain their position, and I think that took a lot out of Campbell's gas tank. Round two is when you saw Danny start coming on, and dude, I remember Danny lands like a cross. He like stepped forward, lands a cross, and it kind of set Curtis flying back, and he flew up against the cage, fell, and then Danny just started putting it on him, dude. I remember Danny like ends up like he grabs the back of Campbell's head and he just starts throwing uppercuts while Campbell's on his knees, just uppercuts, just throwing all these boxing combination. Ref steps in and Danny Silva gets the KO in round two. Via I'm gonna say it was that cross. I think that cross is what did it. So that was a cool fight, man. That was an exciting fight for my boy Danny. You know, Danny, congratulations, Santa Ana in the house, baby. And yeah, we'll move on. Mason Jones versus Axel Sola. So Jones versus Sola, baby. This fight was dude. Honestly, this was a great fight, dude. From both parties, dude. Anytime Mason Jones fights, dude, I'm always excited to see Mason Jones, dude. This guy is a dog. He is a very technical striker, very good head movement, and like the thing I like about Mason Jones is his defense. It works like as he's moving forward. Like when you see his head movement, it's like going forward. He's like dipping his head down. Like most of the time, people like to lean back and slip and dip and all that, but not Mason Jones, baby. Mason Jones is going to come forward and he's going to hit you and he's going to slip and all that. He does get a lot pretty wild. That's the one thing about Mason Jones is he starts getting excited and he'll start having these crazy exchanges when he doesn't need to. He'll stay in the pocket a little too long sometimes, press forward a lot more than he should. And as the fight continues, he kind of tends to start putting his hands down and kind of say fuck defense. You know what I mean? Axel, I don't know much about him, dude. I just learned about him from this fight. Dude, it sounds like he is like he's a man of culture, bro. Honestly, dude was walking out to Mozart. He likes to play chess and he likes to play piano. And he made a prediction for this fight. He said that he was studying tape on Mason Jones and he noticed that Jones likes to put his hands down at the end of combinations. And he said, game set, very interesting. I mean, you better win with saying some stuff like that. You know what I mean? Mason Jones, dog, bro. Dog. Honestly, at the beginning of this fight, Mason Jones was pressing forward, right? He was throwing a lot of strikes. The thing I like about Mason too is his kicks, bro. He has really good kicks. They're fast, they're powerful. They come from off angles. He does a lot of spin, like hook kicks and stuff. Super fun to watch. Yeah, dude, like right off the bat, like Mason Jones was doing what he does. He's pressing forward a lot and he kind of was pushing Sola back with just that pressure. But Sola in the first round, bro, he timed a beautiful spinning backhand and he just smacks Jones in the face and drops him, bro. And it cuts him open, actually. It was... I was surprised Jones got up quick and he kind of started like taking some back steps and he recovered. And he recovered well after he started, I think towards the end of that first round, he started pressing forward again. Round two, I mean, Mason pretty much just started destroying, what was his name? Axel. Started kind of just picking Axel apart, honestly. He was the better, Jones was just a better striker. It's kind of funny that Axel talked about how Mason puts his hands down at the end of combinations and how he was going to catch him with that because Axel just fights with his hands down. I think he's like French though. French people, they do that. What's that fighting style? Salat. So Salat, if I'm not mistaken, is it called Salat? I think it is. Salat. They fight with their hands on. It's very taekwondo-y. So it's like they fight like this with their, I don't know if you can see, but with their hands to their shoulders pretty much. But yeah, so it's kind of funny that he made that prediction about Jones when he kind of keeps his hands down as well. But yeah, Jones, he ends up cutting Sola in round two with the knee. It's kind of impressive because Jones was the shorter fighter. And generally, when you have a shorter fighter, the knees become less effective. For one, it's harder to land them on the face, so that kind of gets taken away. And for two, landing them to the body is a little dangerous because it's like your knees kind of the same distance as their hand. If you're too much shorter. Depending on the length and whatnot, and or if you do start getting into like a knee battle, your opponent is just longer than you. His knees are going to be longer. His forearms are going to be able to frame further out. You know what I mean? So it's not as advised to get into a knee battle with a taller person. But dude, Mason Jones does not care. He was landing some savage knees to the body, to the head. He, like I said, he cut Axel with the knee. Just beautiful. I'll include a clip here. But yeah, Mason just came back round two, round three. Mason was just basically beating the crap out of Axel. Round three, towards I think the last 20 seconds of round three, Mason basically pushed Axel to the cage and he puts him in the tie clench and then he just starts kneeing nonstop, knee after knee after, like those knees were money, bro. He probably threw like 10 knees in the span of 20 seconds. I'm not even joking, maybe even more. But yeah, winner Mason Jones via unanimous decision. This was a great fight. You guys should go watch it. Hit my DMs if you don't have a spot to watch it. I got some sites, baby. I got some, you know what I mean? I'm not saying we're doing anything illegal, but I'm just saying I know some stuff. If you need a spot, hit my DMs. Next fight. Let's see, which one am I going to talk about? Let me see. I'm gonna skip the Wood fight just because, like I said, I'm getting tired, bro. And I gotta eat. It's getting late. Sorry guys. Sorry, I do apologize. Mantis Kondratavicius versus Antoine Tricoli. I don't think I said any of that right. Yeah, I don't think I said that any of those names right. Tricoli Kondratavicius. I don't know, dude. I think Mantis is like, I don't know where he's from, bro. He's from some random country, so I can't pronounce his name. Dude, this fight is a must-see. Mantis, this is the prospect to watch. This guy's been kickboxing since he was 12, bro, and it showed, man. It really did. He pieced up Tricoli, dude. I mean, honestly, like, bro, that fight was just like a lopsided, like, dude, I feel bad for Tricoli. That guy's got mauled. Dude, after the first round, he was already bloodied up. And he was like trying to clinch with Manus because obviously he couldn't like strike with him. And dude, like Manus was making him pay, bro. He like, they would get in that clinch position and he would just drop elbows, knees, punches, a lot of punches from the clinch. Honestly, like I felt really bad for Tricoli for this fight. Mantis, he debuted and he showed up. He didn't get the finish, but dude, I mean, like, dude, you guys gotta watch that fight. His combinations are so slick. I like his style, dude. It's very like he'll throw a combination and he'll stay in the pocket, and then he'll throw like this is one thing I noticed he likes to do. He'll throw a combination, stay in the pocket, and then he'll throw like one more shot at the very end of his combination. I don't know what to call that. It's almost like a delayed last shot, you know. I like it because it kind of stops his opponent from countering. Like he'll throw like a 1-2, a little pause, and then like a 1 or a 1-2, you know, cross kick, whatever. He has great kicks, great punches, like just high fight IQ. I won't spend a lot of time talking about this guy, but watch this fight, man. It was really good. He's something to watch for the division. All right, here we go. Pierrick, bro. I was trying to remember where this fight was at. This was a sick fight. Brando Pierrick versus Louis Sutherland. I wrote in my notes, this is how you save the heavyweight division. Pierrick, he just mollywops Sutherland. He got him in a clinch position. I remember he got him in a clinch position. He started boxing him, and then the dude falls and he just starts throwing ground and pound. Man, it was just yeah, it was just a clinic. It was a clinic. He got the TKO. I think it was the first round, if I'm not mistaken. So it was cool. It was exciting to watch. That's kind of like what you watch heavyweights for, right? For that first round knockout. And yeah, Pierrick, man, I think he can save the heavyweight division. I think he does, and I think they got to start looking for more people like him to fill that division, man. You know, heavyweight's been getting stagnant. It's been stale. You know, we got Alex Pereira though. Alex Pereira is coming to heavyweight, so that's going to be exciting. Him versus Shogun. I cannot wait for that one. That one's going to be at the White House card, right? And this brings me to man, I feel bad for. I wrote about this one fight. Which one was before the? I wrote about I wanted to speak on the Nathaniel Wood one. I'll talk about it quickly. I won't get too into it. Nathaniel Wood 21-6 versus Morgan Chieta 8-1. I'm sorry, not Morgan. It was like Leone. I think I wrote that. It all collected to Morgan. I mean, this was basically a battle of heavy punches versus technical low kicks, man. Chieta kept pressing forward with a lot of boxing combinations. Wood would just was just taking that leg, dude. Honestly, that was the biggest strength for Wood was those low kicks. I think did that fight go all the way to? I think that did that fight go to decision? I can't remember. Let me check up on that real quick. Pause. Oh man, I just remember this fight. I had to go back and I just checked it out real quick to refresh my memories. This is why I gotta do these like the day after I watch these, man, instead of waiting like 2 days. This is Tuesday, so it's been like I watched this on like Saturday night, right? So it's been a couple of days. But Nathaniel Wood versus what is that? Losene Chieta. Yeah, this was a good fight, actually. All the fights that I wrote were just the ones I liked. I don't know why I just tried to brush past this. But yeah, this was just the battle of the low kicks versus the boxer, man. Honestly, Wood, he was very patient, kept a long guard, right? And he would just like punish Chieta's legs, dude. I still can't remember if it went all the way to unanimous decision. I forgot to check on that. I literally, like, when I started watching a little bit of the fight, I jogged my memory and I got excited. Let me check on that, actually. Let me check on that. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this fight went to decision, and man, dude, there was like, dude, Kieda's leg got eaten up. There was times where his leg would get kicked out, and he would just stumble backwards and stuff. Just beautiful work, man. It was beautiful. I like kicks. I like the low kicks. You know how I feel about that, and it's cool to see. I mean, it's always an interesting game, right? When you're playing that low kick game, I don't ever advise you to just only low kick. It's like you want to mix it up with the other stuff. Like I always tell people, bro, the low kick, it's like an investment of your time, right? You want it to, it's gonna affect your opponent like later on in the rounds. So you can't expect it to like do much at the beginning of the round. So it's like you got to be doing other stuff like attacking the face and body, right? And then just mixing in those low kicks. Wood just said F all that, and he literally was only throwing low kicks. I just think that he just couldn't throw anything against Kieta because Kieta was too fast, and so Kieta's hand speed was just a problem. And you know what I mean, so Wood was just like, all right, I'll just keep my long guard out and kick the leg, and you know that was the key to victory because that's what got him the dub. So it was sick. It was sick. So yeah, my bad to those guys. I just totally brushed past him. I do apologize. Last fight I'm gonna talk about, Shamrock versus Abdul Kareem. It was a good scrap, bro. It was a decent scrap, but really the only reason I wrote about it was because the real story was what happened after the bell. Let me pull up a picture of these fellas just so you could see what they look like and whatnot. Okay, never mind. I try to look for like a stat picture or something, but I don't know. I couldn't find anything. All the pictures I found were just related to like the slap and all the beef. But yeah, so Shamrock, he came in with the 12-2-1. Cool ass name, by the way. And he was fighting Abdul Kareem, who had a 16-4 record. Like I said, it was a good scrap. Totally worth watching, actually. But after the exchange, Abdul Kareem got slapped by Shamrock. Yeah, was it Shamrock? Yeah. By Shamrock, and that led to Abdul Kareem, he slapped Shamrock after the bell, which led to a little altercation and security got involved. So apparently what happened was Shamrock was like talking like mad crap to Abdul Kareem prior to the fight, and you know Abdul Kareem was obviously, they kind of were like I wouldn't say frenemies, they're basically enemies. But after the fight, Shamrock tried to like, I guess, be homies with Abdul, give him like a fist bump or something, and Abdul didn't want to give him a fist bump back, which pissed off Shamrock. I guess it hurt his feelings, and he decided to slap him. Super funny, and I mean, I guess, like, what do you expect, bro? You're gonna talk smack about someone and then try to be cool with them afterwards. Like, you gotta at least apologize and be like, my bad, bro, I was trying to sell the fight or something. But people don't like that. I mean, that's why people didn't like Colby Covington, you know, because you talk all the smack. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Second time I recorded this. Goddamn, dude. This is like, I don't even know how long I've been here for. It's such a bummer. But we did it. We completed it. I appreciate you guys that watched this. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. Hopefully you enjoy the show. I am tired. I'm dead. I had a long day. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's time for me to shower and cook. With that being said, thanks for watching. UFC, baby. Stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews. I'm interviewing people for WCK right now. I'll also be at the event. I'll do a cool little video. I don't know if you guys saw the one I did with the EFL. It was a cool video. By the way, random as hell, the EFL, which is Elbow Fight League, is what it stands for. It's basically a boxing. It's a boxing league that allows elbows, similar to Mike Perry's Dirty Boxing, but they don't allow the ground and pound. The boxing committee is coming after Danny, who was the promoter for that event. They basically said his fight shouldn't have been sanctioned, this and that. I think they're trying to sue him. It's kind of sad. I do want to make a video talking smack on these guys because I don't agree with what they're doing, but I don't understand it enough yet, so I don't feel like I should speak on it. I kind of want to know more about it before I say anything, because maybe, who knows, maybe my opinion changes. Maybe Danny messed up. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, you know, whatever, dude. But anyways, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that WCK video, and stay tuned for that possibly me talking shit video on the boxing commission. I have a friend who loves to talk smack, and I feel like he'd be perfect to be on with me, to speak with me. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.